Why
have a
not?
question. You have a young daughter. She's maybe a little bit too young for Scouts at this point. Do you want Lilibet to be part of Girl Scout?
It's interesting. I think we'll continue to explore whatever feels right. But Alyssa's also a mom of a daughter. And I think for both of us, working on this project has been incredibly special as parents, as mothers, to be able to see something that our girls will be able to watch and enjoy as well.
Yeah, in fact, the film began.
Breaking today, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's epic disaster at the Sundance Film Festival, where they can't even fill one movie theater.
Meghan Markle reportedly had a tense and widely dissected weekend at the Sundance Film Festival, and the optics did her absolutely no favors. Multiple outlets, along with first-hand accounts from attendees on the ground, painted a picture that was far from the prestige moment her team likely hoped for. What was meant to be a credibility boost instead unraveled into a series of awkward moments, questionable decisions.
Courtroom.
When you look at him bringing up Meghan in this moment about what happened in the past, for me, it looks like he is trying to do what happened in the past because of what happened to Meghan in the present. But if it is about what happened to Meghan in the present, then why not bring a lawsuit about what happened to Meghan in the present? You know why he won't do that? Because, first of all, there's not other people that he can come in with this same lawsuit to strengthen his case like he has with the other people that are in on this court case, all these other people. It's just him and his life with this woman. But also, Meghan's life that she lived in the UK was not even affected that way where there would be evidence, where there would be enough justification for a lawsuit. It is all caught up on an emotional high, emotional roller coaster of, having to work with the press, having to then be, part of the press's news gathering, story making arm. And there's no real balance between the two. But at the same time, that's just the life you get. It's a quid pro quo. You get this luxurious life. You're born into privilege, things you never had to work for. But the compromise to all of that is that now you have to put up with things in the press that probably do make your life.
And optics that quickly spiraled into online ridicule. According to several festival goers, the screening connected to Meghan and Prince Harry's project failed to draw a full house. Empty seats were clearly visible inside the theater, a detail that spread through Park City faster than any official press release. At Sundance, where sold-out screenings are the norm and scarcity is part of the currency, visible gaps in the audience immediately raise eyebrows.
Meghan Markle forced her own introduction, and she did it again. She inserts herself where she doesn't belong.
It became a quiet but relentless talking point among industry insiders, moving from screening to screening. Then came the moment that truly ignited social media. During an onstage exchange, Meghan was asked a light, seemingly harmless question. "What's your favorite cookie?" Her response, referencing Thin Mints in a strangely roundabout way, landed awkwardly. Instead of sounding natural or playful, critics said it felt rehearsed yet oddly uncertain, like someone momentarily caught between branding and authenticity.
This is a good question, and this is a question Meghan invited by talking about herself and referencing herself.
Interesting. I think we'll continue to explore whatever feels right. But Alyssa's all.
So she doesn't really have an answer to that question, and she should have an answer to that question. If it's so important, if you're producing a film, if you're saying, I was a Girl Scout and it was so great, why aren't you saying, yeah, we're looking to put her in or something like that? And again, I understand somewhat from security reasons, but there was a way, I think, to handle that question better than just going, I don't know.
That brief exchange alone spawned countless clips, memes, and comment threads dissecting tone, body language, and delivery. All of this unfolded just days after Prince Harry appeared visibly emotional in a UK courtroom, speaking about the toll media attention has taken on their lives. The contrast was impossible to ignore. On one side of the Atlantic, Harry was describing how coverage had destroyed aspects of his life. On the other, Meghan was standing under festival lights, fielding lifestyle-style questions and commanding a stage at one of the world's most prestigious indie film events.
No, Meghan, that's only you and your testicle husband that had late night because you're up doing snow and drinking your free wine.
The irony did not go unnoticed, and commentators quickly began drawing parallels that made the moment even more uncomfortable. Sundance is not just another red carpet stop. Founded by Robert Redford, it holds a near-sacred status in the independent film world. Serious filmmakers go there to be taken seriously. Industry passes cost thousands, and executives from Netflix, Amazon, A24, and other major players attend specifically to scout strong, award-worthy projects. When it was announced that a project connected to Meghan and Harry would appear there, the signal was clear. This was meant to elevate their creative credibility beyond celebrity. But almost immediately, questions arose about how that moment was handled. At Sundance, protocol matters. It is customary for the director to be introduced first, regardless of star power or executive producer status. Filmmakers are the priority, always.
Literally, the nostalgia of Girl Scout cookies, as if it's like Monopoly or Barbie. She's trying to turn it into a IP.
At least have the Duchess of Sausages have the opportunity to see the Duchess of Sausages 50 Shades of Orange Marmalade.
Tickets to Sundance screenings are notoriously hard to secure, and the same theater had hosted a packed, high-energy premiere the night before featuring major Hollywood names. Against that backdrop, expectations were high. Instead, witnesses described a moment that felt off from the start. Meghan delivered a lengthy, emotional speech thanking her production team and speaking about how proud she and my husband were of the project, in a move considered highly unusual for Sundance.
And Netflix can now undercut her completely and 100% on this project if it doesn't sell. Honestly, I would guess that's a game they're playing.
A festival programmer introduced an executive producer rather than centering the director. According to multiple accounts, the director was left standing off to the side while Meghan held the microphone and the moment. The contrast sharpened when the director, Elisa, finally began to speak.
As of now and as of taping, no one bought it. It's still unsold. No streamers are getting it yet. I imagine Netflix will have an opportunity.
Observers noted that Meghan remained on stage, arms crossed, visibly disengaged now that the spotlight had shifted. At Sundance, where respect for directors is deeply ingrained, that detail mattered. Critics felt it disrupted the spirit of the festival, turning what should have been a filmmaker's moment into something far more performative.
How much does it cost and how do you get in? Because you can see that there are a lot of empty. There's one guy or a lady, I don't know, running away from Meghan.
Online reaction was swift and unforgiving. Clips circulated, freeze frames were analyzed, and commentary poured in questioning authenticity, intent, and awareness. Even a question about whether her daughter might one day join the Girl Scouts became fodder for debate, with commenters arguing that her answer sounded less heartfelt and more like someone momentarily scrambling to stay on message.
Support and uplift? You didn't have anything to do with it? Oh, yeah, no, she didn't.
Insiders also pointed out a detail that quietly undercut the entire appearance. Netflix, despite having full access to the finished project, reportedly chose not to acquire it. For a platform known to spend aggressively on content, especially from partners it already works with, that decision spoke volumes.
What's Harry doing with his hand here? Why does he have his hand like stiff like that, like not moving, and Meghan is barely grasping to him?
The Sundance appearance, according to several observers, looked less like a celebratory premiere and more like a last-minute attempt to shop the film around. As if that weren't enough, attention quickly shifted to Meghan's appearance itself. Under the harsh festival lighting, makeup details were scrutinized frame by frame, sparking non-stop online discussion. Her outfit became part of the narrative too. For someone positioning herself as a lifestyle and fashion authority, critics felt the styling didn't align with the polished brand she promotes. The internet wasted no time making that point loudly.
In a rare move at Sundance, meaning this isn't supposed to happen, programmer Kim Yatani, which is her, welcomes an executive producer to introduce a filmmaker. That's not supposed to happen. That's not the way it works. It's just supposed to be the director and the stars of the...
Some commentators went further, arguing that the 9 a.m. Sunday screening slot felt like a quiet demotion rather than a prime showcase, reinforcing the sense that this was not the triumphant moment it was meant to be. What was intended as a credibility play instead fed into a growing perception of overreach, awkward control, and brand confusion.
Harry, in the High Court in the UK, saying, "Goodness me, my life has been destroyed by the fact that people want to write articles about me," and then literally hours later, turning up on a red...
By the end of the weekend, the conversation had shifted completely. Rather than discussing the substance of the documentary, most of the buzz focused on optics, behavior, protocol.
Meghan's reaction to the director's speech. Well, look, let's just watch together because it's very odd.
And the uncomfortable disconnect between message and moment. The Sundance appearance, meant to elevate, instead reopened questions about authenticity, creative priorities,
People watch them to watch the train wreck. They're not actually invested in
and whether celebrity presence alone can carry weight in spaces that value craft above all else. That testimony happened midweek, yet by Saturday night the contrast had become impossible to ignore.
Does Meghan look like so orange? Why Meghan went full bronzer again?
And here's the thing people keep circling back to. Gestures matter. Context matters. A half-empty theater at Sundance matters.
Meghan's greatest love affair, ladies and gentlemen, is microphone. Her greatest love affair in the entire world is a microphone.
Girl Scout cookies as a theme could be charming, sure, even wholesome on the surface, but critics argue it crossed into something else entirely. Not organic, not spontaneous, carefully packaged, and to many observers, clearly exploitative. Yes, the documentary itself could be described as cute.
Meghan Markle cannot even name her favorite Girl Scout cookie. She is at a premiere for a new movie called Cookie Queens, which she executive produced about girls selling Girl Scout cookies. And yet the woman cannot name a favorite.
But that word kept colliding with another one in online commentary. Calculated. The smiles, the anecdotes, the framing all felt less like storytelling and more like positioning. That dissonance became the real story. A royal commentator speaking to entertainment media summed it up bluntly, saying sources close to the couple were genuinely confused.
I don't think she did well. She can't even sell her own products now with the Duchess title. I doubt she could as a child.
If Netflix actually wanted this film, they would have taken it immediately. They have a first-look deal with Harry and Meghan. The fact that they didn't spoke louder than any red carpet appearance, industry chatter quickly zeroed in on that point. Netflix had access. Netflix passed. And if media attention is truly as unbearable as Harry has testified, critics asked the obvious question: why voluntarily step into one of the most photographed, scrutinized film festivals in the world? Sundance is not low exposure.
We begin with their little bits on the red carpet, and then we'll get to Meghan's little word salad speech because, she gets special benefits because, she's the Dutch.
It's relentless. Cameras everywhere, reporters everywhere, industry insiders watching every move. The argument didn't add up for a lot of people. Then came another moment that raised eyebrows. During onstage remarks, Meghan pivoted into a kind of rapid-fire award salad, thanking people, causes, and initiatives in a way that felt unfocused, almost like ticking boxes.
She decides to do something that no star does. It is not the done thing if you are in the world of lovey movie mayhem. And for Meghan, she wants to be in the world of lovey movie mayhem, so really she should be doing and following the protocol, which is, it doesn't matter how big you are as a star. It doesn't matter if you're Brad Pitt. It doesn't matter if you're George Clooney. It doesn't matter if you're Jennifer Lawrence. You do not speak at a film festival before the direct.
That's when a question landed that really stuck. You have a young daughter. She's still very little. Do you want Lilibet to be part of the Girl Scouts one day? The answer, again, didn't feel grounded. Commentators noted hesitation, over-explanation, and a tone that felt more like branding than personal conviction. And here's a detail many people pointed out that sharpened the contrast even further. Other public figures connected to youth organizations have supported those causes quietly for years. No microphones, no documentaries, no branding tie-ins. They show up, do the work, and leave. That's it. Catherine, for example, has visited Girl Guides repeatedly over the years, publicly championing the organization as part of a long, consistent pattern of charitable involvement. No fanfare, no content strategy, just continuity. That context mattered, especially because timing once again became part of the conversation. Catherine's recent engagement with scouting organizations had barely faded from headlines when this Girl Scout-centered documentary suddenly appeared. To critics, it felt reactive rather than rooted, rushed rather than earned. Another example, they argued, of Meghan appearing to mirror causes already associated with Catherine. Early childhood development becomes a talking point. Meghan launches a children-focused initiative. Scouting resurfaces publicly. A Girl Scout documentary appears. To many observers, it didn't read as coincidence. It read as imitation without foundation. The core criticism wasn't about the cause itself. It was about consistency. Catherine's involvement spans years. Meghan's appeared to arrive with cameras already rolling. One feels lived in, the other feels assembled. That difference is what keeps coming up in commentary, not whether the cause is good, but whether the engagement is real. Some critics didn't hold back at all, calling the whole presentation chaotic, disconnected, even emblematic of why projects keep stalling. In their view, this wasn't bad luck or unfair press. It was the result of trying to shortcut credibility in an industry that values endurance over optics. And that's the uncomfortable question Sundance left hanging in the air. Is this about the work or about being seen doing the work? Because in a place built to spotlight filmmakers first, that distinction matters more than anywhere else. Instead of long-term hands-on involvement, critics argue that Meghan's pattern looks increasingly familiar. She attaches her name to a project once it's already completed, steps into the spotlight at the premiere, delivers remarks that center heavily on herself, and then disappears once the media cycle cools. That's exactly why people kept asking the same uncomfortable question after Sundance. How do you serve as an executive producer on a film and appear unfamiliar with its most basic elements? For many watching, that disconnect was impossible to ignore. Then there was the issue of relevance. This wasn't a packed midnight premiere or a buzzy industry screening. They struggled to fill seats at a festival where passes cost thousands of dollars and attendance is usually competitive. That detail alone raised eyebrows across Hollywood. Sundance audiences are there to discover work, not to be impressed by titles. Empty seats speak louder than applause ever could. The Hollywood response itself was telling, and it tied directly back to Harry's courtroom testimony in the UK. Viewers couldn't help but notice the contradiction. On one hand, he speaks emotionally about the devastating cost of media intrusion and taxpayer burdens tied to security. On the other, Meghan voluntarily places herself at a high-visibility festival, walking red carpets, taking the microphone, and drawing press attention. For many observers, those two narratives simply don't coexist comfortably anymore. Then came the small moments that snowballed into bigger criticism. When Meghan struggled to answer simple on-theme questions about a documentary centered on cookies and youth organizations, it didn't read as charming or spontaneous. It read as unprepared. Commentators online said the hesitation gave them what they described as the ick, because it felt like she was performing concern rather than expressing it. Whether fair or not, that perception stuck. Questions about family values and children were met with polished but vague answers that sounded rehearsed instead of personal. Even longtime supporters admitted it felt increasingly difficult to defend complaints about press intrusion while watching repeated, voluntary media appearances unfold. Red carpets, speeches, stage photo ops, and selective interviews don't align cleanly with a narrative built on privacy and retreat. One royal commentator told British media that when you strip away the announcements and the hype, the number of genuinely successful projects from Meghan and Harry is relatively small. Titles, speeches, and strategic positioning haven't translated into sustained impact. Instead of praise, they've fueled skepticism. Critics argue Meghan may have believed that royal association alone would guarantee credibility and success in Hollywood. But Sundance told a different story. People weren't just talking about one underwhelming screening. They were talking about what those empty seats represented. To many, it symbolized a broader judgment on everything the Sussexes have tried to build since stepping away from royal life. Hollywood, they argue, isn't buying the pitch anymore, and the response hasn't come through harsh statements or public takedowns. It's come through silence, hesitation, and closed doors. So what do you think? Was this Meghan's most damaging moment yet? Or just another chapter in a long, complicated saga? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button now, because this story is clearly far from over.